to Department of Justice for use within the boundaries of the United States. Why is this important? When you think about the other areas of non-lethal technology, which do include, in some cases, chemicals and chemical weapons, weapons that are forbidden under international agreement from being used in a war conflict situation with a declared enemy of the United States. But within the context of those chemical weapons treaties, there's an exemption. And the exemption is you can use them for domestic use. Moreover, you can continue to develop them for domestic use. We cite the chapter and section of that chemical weapons treaty specifically within our book because it is important. The United States signed off an agreement that says what we cannot use against a declared enemy, we can use as a country against our own citizens. Fundamentally, that's wrong. In terms of where does it go from here, we have now this huge transfer of technology, not just in chemical weapons, but in non-lethal weapons occurring from Department of Defense to Department of Justice, which allows the government to continue to develop these weapons technologies outside of Department of Defense, but in a way where they can be used against citizens for either riot control or crowd control, or who knows? Because the thing about radio frequency weapons that's unique, you can't see it coming. It's not like a bullet. It's not like a club. It's something you can't even see coming at you. Without the right equipment to detect, you don't even know you're being affected, except you're disoriented or you've lost bladder control, which is one of the other things they can do. At some energy levels, according to Captain Tyler, you can even induce heart attack. So we're talking about technologies that are here now, that are being developed now, and that are now being transferred for domestic purposes. One of the other side effects and one of the other potential effects of this system, of this HAARP system, is the idea that it may interfere with migration patterns of certain animals. In Alaska, this is critically important because many of our people there rely on the migration patterns of animals for their sustenance. What we're talking about is a big departure from the traditional theory about how migration patterns and how animals orient when they migrate. The traditional scientists will say they orient by land formations, light, gravity, etc. Basically things that are in the touch feel area. Others are saying and suggesting now, because of some recent discoveries, that perhaps the orientation is along magnetic lines of force. And that within the brains of a number of species of animals, they found a mineral called magnetite, which is electromagnetically active. And they believe that this may be the switch that causes animals to migrate from one location to another. In fact, it might go far when you think about geophysical disturbances manifesting also in changes in magnetic lines of force. Maybe that goes a long way to describing why whales and dolphins are beaching themselves. Perhaps they're just disoriented. When you think about it in terms of migration patterns, we're going to inject energy into the magnetic lines of force. It's going to alter their character. If it alters it substantially, these migration patterns of caribou, salmon, and other animals may be greatly, greatly impacted. So we're concerned about that as well. Overall, we talked in this presentation about a number of potential applications for this technology, a number of ways it can be used both beneficially and negatively. What we're asking for now is a moratorium on the science until it can be more broadly reviewed by a contingent of scientists that don't work for the military, that don't necessarily work for academic institutions who draw most of their money from military establishment, but are truly independent and are leaders in their field, so that legislative bodies can begin to review this technology and its proper use and determine whether or not it needs to be set aside like nuclear energy or whether it needs to be advanced in a proper form for the benefit of human beings. It's not a simple issue. We've done a lot of research in compiling our data. It's not our words, it's their words. The only thing we've done is put it in form where it's easily understood.